13 hours, which is at midnight. Why the hell do you have whipped cream in your bag? Laurel's face was a delightful shade of rosy pink. She broke their eye contact, gazing down at the floor. It was... Dana got the feeling that she was being obtuse, but she honestly didn't understand Laurel's embarrassment. For dessert, she asked. For my breasts. Laurel reached into her backpack and pulled out a small box of birthday candles. Happy birthday. Dana handed the can of whipped cream back to Laurel. You were going to let me lick it off, yes. Laurel shoved the can of whipped cream and the box of candles right back into her bag, not meeting Dana's eyes. You think I'm a complete slut, right? Strangely, that had been the last thought on Dana's mind. No, I think you're a goddamn wet dream. She was relieved that her birthday surprise had ended before she was confronted with cream-tipped nipples. Most people would probably take that opportunity and run with it, but she would have blown it. She did blow it. That doesn't make you uncomfortable? She asked, shifting the focus away from her own responses. Letting some stranger just put her mouth on you? It's not like a regular part of my act or anything. Laurel shifted away. It was only a few inches, but Dana felt the loss. I just figured a female client. I don't know, I thought it might be pretty hot. She was clearly uncomfortable, and Dana wished she'd been more tactful. Trying to make her feel better, she said, I love whipped cream, and I suspect that it's even better when served on perfect breasts. Having placed her supposed heterosexuality in doubt, she expected a mocking reply, but Laurel gave her a shy smile that made the admission worthwhile. Thanks, Dana. She thrust her hand back into the depths of her bag and pulled out an object that made Dana moan in anticipation. Waving the Hershey's chocolate bar in front of Dana's face, she asked, Hungry? When Dana reached out as if to grab the chocolate bar, Laurel snapped it away. You never said dessert would be conditional, Dana sighed. I'm sure you'll earn it. I'm easy to please. Oh, really? Dana drawled. Damn, flirting was fun. Easy to please? I guess I'll keep that in mind. You do that. Anything else? What other wonders do you have in there? Breaking into a wide grin, Laurel withdrew 2 books. The one she handed to Dana was slightly battered and obviously well-loved. Dana was immediately riveted to the cover image of 2 beautiful women engaged in a sensual kiss. The title of the book was Stories for the Long Night, a collection of lesbian erotica. Instantly turned on, she was unable to form a sentence. She reached for the other book. Emergency Procedures for the Small Animal Veterinarian, she read aloud. Little light reading? It's for one of the classes I took. It's actually a really good text. Laurel followed the books with a stethoscope, which she caressed with mock seductive coyness. How about this for excitement? I guess we're covered if we want to play doctor later, Dana said, holding her gaze. Laurel released a shaky breath. Don't tease the lesbian. It's been forever since I played a good game of doctor. The desire in Laurel's voice was obvious. Did I really do that? Dana grinned, growing warm inside. Don't get too excited, she said, giving Laurel a sidelong glance. We have to finish this game first, at least. Laurel set the stethoscope on the growing pile of stuff and hauled out a nylon bag. Blanket in a bag? Essential for the student preferring to lunch by the river between classes. You can fit an actual blanket in that thing? Yes, a warm gray fleece one. Maybe if you're really nice, I'll let you share it later, if you decide you need a nap or something. She peered into her bag. That's about it. There's just my wallet. Dana settled back against the wall, glancing at her wristwatch. We're probably going to be stuck in here for at least another 7 hours, so I'm thinking we could kill 5 or 10 minutes with your wallet. I don't suppose you have a wallet so you can reciprocate with this little show and tell. Dana shook her head. I'm afraid it's in my office. She delved into her pockets and pulled out the contents, reporting, Got half a roll of lifesavers, 2 quarters, the receipt for the muffin I bought on the way to work this morning, and some pocket lint. So I'm on my own here with the whole share your life in a virtual stranger thing. Laurel didn't sound upset. Dana flicked some lint in her direction. You're feeling shy now? After straddling my lap and giving me an up-close and personal view of your perfect... All right. Laurel slapped Dana's arm playfully. I guess I have no secrets now. Dana shivered, feeling gooseflesh raise on her skin. You're killing me. They're going to find a stripper and a dead project manager in here tomorrow morning for sure. Laurel burst into loud braying laughter, which she quickly stifled with a hand over her mouth. At Dana's quizzical look, she leaned into her and gasped, I'm just trying to figure you out. She didn't say any more, and they fell into a silence that seemed to pulse with sexual energy. Laurel kept meeting her eyes shyly, then looking away, all the while wearing a grin that suggested she held some tasty secret. Dana could feel her own gaze straying to Laurel's face without her consent, and every time their eyes met, her heart would race. How would she ever make it through the night without making a complete fool of herself? The best way, she decided, was to keep talking about Laurel's wallet. Dana held out her hand. Is your driver's license photo as awful as mine? Laurel handed over the plastic card. You tell me. Dana gazed down at Laurel's small image, which wasn't nearly as lovely as the real thing sitting next to her on the floor, but beautiful nonetheless. Not quite trusting herself to make a casual comment, she scanned the details instead. Laurel Jane Stanley, May 13th, 1982. Jesus, you're a baby, Laurel snorted. Since when is 25 a baby? You were born in the 80s and you're graduating from veterinary school in 6 months? Dana felt simultaneously impressed and completely foolish. And here I pretty much called her an empty-headed bimbo earlier. Laurel shrugged. I skipped a grade in elementary school. So how old are you, wise elder? 28, Dana said. You're ragging on me for being born in the 80s, but you're only 3 years older? Those are 3 very important years, Dana's heart started beating crazily. It was so easy to talk to Laurel, to joke around even. She couldn't remember the last time she had enjoyed anyone's company so much. That thought, to put it mildly, shocked her. All of a sudden, she couldn't think of a single word to say. She snapped her mouth closed and waited for Laurel to break the quiet. Laurel seemed to sense her shift in mood, because her smile faded, and for a few moments she stared at Dana, light color rising on her cheeks. So what do you think? Laurel asked. Is my photo as awful as yours? Dana willed her heartbeat to slow down. She stroked her thumb over the image. No, you're gorgeous. As she returned the license, her fingers brushed Laurel's and they both exhaled at the accidental contact. Completely undone, Dana said, thanks. She'd never experienced a moment like that with another human being. It was an actual moment, she thought. No one could dispute that. She wondered how exactly one was supposed to go on after a moment like that. Apparently Laurel knew. I have a picture of my cat, she murmured, moving them past the fraught silence. Do you want to see her? This is Isis, right? Dana asked as she was handed a photo of a black cat with a panther-like face. Yes. Tell me she doesn't look like a creature should have been worshipped by the ancient Egyptians. Sneezing into your bubble bath is godlike? Dana asked. Bubble bath. Great. Right where I wanted my mind to wander. Not that part, Laurel said. She has 6 toes in every foot and a regal bearing. Very regal. And worshipped plenty by a modern American. That she is, Laurel agreed. She's my baby. She exchanged the photo for another. This is my mother. Dana took in the image of a slight blonde woman with an encouraging smile. She was my best friend, Laurel said. She passed away last year. Dana felt a lump in her throat. Oh, Laurel, I'm so sorry. Laurel shrugged. So am I. She had cancer. It was pretty bad in the end, so in a way, it was time. Dana handed the photo back to Laurel with silent reverence. I still have both my parents, she said after a moment. I guess I still feel too young to lose them, even though I'm not very close with them. She studied her companion, resisting the urge to stroke her chestnut hair. Are you close with your father? Laurel's eyes darkened. No. She tucked the picture of her mother away. He left us when Mom got sick. I got to take care of her, and he got a new young wife who probably married him for the money he took with him. Asshole. Dana experienced a surge of anger that fell out of proportion with her emotional involvement in the situation. That was shitty of him. For sure, Laurel agreed. She spread the wallet open and showed Dana the contents. $68. Dana watched in fascination as Laurel's lips quivered for a moment before she broke into a mischievous grin. Got $1? Dana blushed as soon as she understood Laurel's joke, of almost a full 15 seconds after her companion put it out there. 69. Great, just what she needed to think about. Managing a shy chuckle, Dana said, Unfortunately, my wallet's in my office, remember? Oh, yeah. Laurel cleared her throat and flipped slowly through the plastic sleeves in her wallet. So I've got a credit card, my debit card, voter registration, my library card. A library card? That's so quaint. I'm bookish like that. Laurel offered a faux seductive eyelash flutter. You know you think it's sexy. Oh yes, Dana said. Very sexy. I knew it. Laurel put her things away in her backpack, wearing a slight smile as she worked. She offered the lesbian erotica book to Dana before stowing it. You sure you don't want a little light reading? Dana leaned across Laurel's lap and grabbed at the Hershey's bar on the floor. I'd rather have the chocolate. Laurel slapped her away and snatched up the candy. Maybe after that game of Truth or Dare you promised me. Her sweet, innocent smile was hard to resist. Dana knew her protest sounded feeble. Promised? I'm pretty sure I never promised anything like that. Listen, do you want the chocolate or not? Dana released a long-suffering sigh. Fine, she said. After Truth or Dare. And we all know where Truth or Dare leads, don't we? Thank you guys so much. See you later.